Hey everybody, welcome back to Kavanaugh's Corner. As always on the channel here, I am Andrew Kavanaugh and I do reviews of 4K Ultra HD Blu-rays. So that's physical media stuff, and if you're a physical media collector like me, then I hope that you enjoy this video and of course like and subscribe and all that happy crap. Today we're going to be talking about a very interesting film. This is one of my favorite animated movies. This is a really zany, kind of out there type film, but I really have always enjoyed this film. I remember when this was actually originally released, and I saw it in theaters. I think it was like the day of release, or maybe the day after. And I was really charmed by it. It's a very charming film. Everybody involved in it did a great job, including, of course, one of the directors, Tim Burton. The animation in this film is spectacular, and of course, the voice acting and everything in this is also really, really well done. And that movie is, of course, Corpse Bride. Almost an instant Tim Burton classic. Johnny Depp is fantastic, and so is Helena Bonham Carter as the Corpse Bride. But this movie has a whole slew of great voice actors, just great actors and actresses in general. Tracy Ullman is really, really great in this. Michael Gough is actually in this as well, and I loved him as Alfred in the Batman film, so it's really cool to see him back with Burton in this movie. He just does such a great job, and I actually think it was one of the last films he did before he passed away. The scary thing is, this thing came out 20 years ago this year, almost exactly 20 years ago. So it's really great that we finally got this in 4K. And today on the channel, I'm going to be reviewing the picture quality, the audio quality, and the special features. And I do want to note that this was sent to me by Warner Brothers Home Entertainment, so big thank you to Warner Brothers for sending this out. They send me a lot of new releases, and I'm really, really grateful to them. And even though this was sent to me by Warner Brothers, they don't ask me to say anything particular, to speak a certain way about any of their products. They just care that I make some kind of online content talking about it. So just know that, and this review is my opinion and mine alone. Yours may differ, and there's no problem with that. Let's jump right into the review here, and let's talk about the picture quality on this new 4K disc of Corpse Bride. So this is a 2K upscale disc, and even though some of you may think, oh, well, that's it, I'm done, you know, some of you may have actually already clicked off of the video by now, but the 2K upscale in this is actually really important because this film was actually shot with consumer-grade cameras. I think they used like Nikons or Canons or something like that to film this movie, to do the filming of the animation. So this movie actually went to theaters with a 2K digital intermediate. So we're getting a 2K upscale for this 4K disc. And one thing I always like to say when it comes to these 2K upscales is sometimes they're really good and other times they're extremely disappointing. And I've seen my share of both. But I'm very glad to say that this is actually a phenomenal transfer on here. And this disc does have HDR10, which greatly increases the picture quality on this disc. It's actually kind of unbelievable how much better this is from the previous Blu-ray. The HDR10 is very, very helpful to this film. And if you haven't seen this film, basically, this is a very, very dark film. Not just in tone. I mean, there are some dark moments. It's kind of a, you know, kind of silly story, but it is very dark in its actual cinematography. The land of the living scenes are almost grayscale in color. And there's a lot of shadows, there's a lot of darkness. There is basically nothing but nighttime scenes through most of this film. And that HDR10 has now provided incredible shadow detail, as well as basically perfect black levels. I was kind of floored by this, to be honest, because when I looked it up and I saw that it was a 2K digital intermediate that's been upscaled, I was kind of like, I don't know, this could be bad, but it's really not. This movie actually looks really, really phenomenal on this 4K disc. Even the detail level on this has jumped incredibly. And this was shot digitally, so I will say I did not notice any sort of film grain at all, even an artificial layer of film grain. It is pretty much crystal clear all throughout the movie, and it just looks sharp as a tack. You can really see the intricate details of this, kind of stop motion animation that was done. And it has never looked better. I mean, I was really pleasantly surprised on how phenomenal the picture quality was on this. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that the HDR10 has now greatly helped the colors of this film. And even though, like I said, the upstairs scenes, as they call it in the film, those scenes, as grayscale as they are, there are still colors. There's many different variations of grays and whites and blacks and all these different colors, but they're very muted colors, and I really love how they looked on this 4K now. But when the movie switches to the kind of underworld Land of the Dead scenes, those colors just pop now. I mean, they are unbelievable, and I'm talking about greens, reds, purples, the blues, especially the blues that the corpse bride wears, and her look and everything. Everything just really jumps out at you now, and it's just phenomenal. It is absolutely stunning, and it's very, very beautiful to look at. I was very impressed with this. Now, even though this disc doesn't get extremely bright, it does match kind of that tone of the film. The darker tone, it's not an extremely bright 4K. The scenes that do get a little brighter, you can tell now that HDR is kicking in. There's one shot near the end of the film where the corpse bride's kind of walking out of a church, and the moon is in the distance, and it's like this blue moon. I was really, really impressed. I just couldn't believe how gorgeous this movie was. And I haven't seen this movie in a while, so it kind of surprised me on multiple levels how great this looked. I was just blown away. To be honest, Corpse Bride here, in terms of picture quality, may be one of the best 2K upscaled 4Ks I have ever seen. It is a knockout, and I got to give it to the guys that did the transfer on this. They really did an amazing job. They really kept the soul of the film alive and just enhanced everything else about this movie. It's really, really great stuff. Now, in terms of audio quality, this also got a bump here because this new 4K does have a Dolby Atmos audio track. And that Dolby Atmos on this is, again, very impressive. Range of the Dolby Atmos track is phenomenal. The dialogue is very, very clear all throughout. There is a lot of talking in this movie, but there's also a lot of music. And Danny Elfman's, score in this just sounded so beautiful. It was just outstanding how great it sounded on this disc. Danny Elfman's songs also are just awesome in this new Dolby Atmos track. Now, one thing I'll say is the surrounds are not used all throughout the film, but they are used well. There are a couple moments when there's kind of stuff going on all around the characters, and you can hear little sound effects and things like that. I will say the overheads in this, I really only detected they were used maybe like once, but again, there's a usage for them, so they do find a usage, and the little moment that they are used is actually pretty cool. So it's kind of a front-heavy, audio track here, but when the surrounds are used, it's really well done, and the fact that the music kind of spreads out and you can kind of hear it all around you at certain points, it's very elegant, it's very beautiful, and I like the way it was done. It's a really solid Atmos track on this disc. Now, in terms of special features, this disc actually does have a couple brand new special features on here, which is a nice touch. There's one little featurette that's called Digging Up the Past, the Minds Behind the Corpse Bride. And that is a really cute little featurette that brings together a bunch of the animators that were behind the film, and they are kind of reunited for the first time in a long time. They talked about their experiences making the film, how they actually managed to do this movie with the technology that they used at the time. It's really cool to see, but it was also nice that they actually got to talk about the 4K disc itself and how much better it looks in 4K now. And that was a really cool thing. You never see that. And you also don't really get to see a lot of stuff about animators on animated films, which is kind of mind-blowing to me, but it's not something you see very much. So it's nice that that's added in there. And there's also another little featurette that's called Till Death Do Us Art, a Corpse Bride reflection, which is almost kind of like a partner piece to that first featurette. And then there's also a bunch of other special features that have been carried over from other releases of this film, such as like the previous Blu-ray and DVD. So there's a lot of different little special features in here. Nice to see that they added 2 new ones. And this also does come with a digital code that redeems on Movies Anywhere. Ironically enough, on Movies Anywhere, it does come with Dolby Vision. So I'll have to check that out in the future to see the differentials. But I will say, for the 4K disc itself, even though it's just a 1-disc release, this was really impressive. And I could not believe how good this movie looked in 4K. It's hands down, as I said, one of the best 2K upscales I've ever seen. And this movie definitely has never looked any better than this. So I highly recommend Corpse Bride. Even if you haven't seen this movie before, I think it's a really cute film, very charming. It has some really funny moments in it as well. But most of all, it's a great, great movie to watch around Halloween time with your loved ones, especially if you have a emo goth girlfriend. They really like this movie, so, you know, thank me later. Anyway, if you want to get Corpse Bride, I'll leave a link in the description down below that goes to Amazon. If you use that link, I do get a little kickback here on the channel. It does help me out a little bit, but the best thing you can do to help me here is to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this review, as well as subscribe. Really, if you subscribe to my channel, I cannot thank you enough. I just surpassed over 8,100 subscribers somehow. I've been doing this for 10 years now, which is crazy. So I really, really thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you feel informed if you are going to go pick this up on 4K. But until next time, I want to wish you guys all the very best. Please stay safe, keep collecting, and take it easy.